Broadcasting from some land, somewhere in Magic, this is Tap Tap Concede. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Tap Tap Concede. I'm James, and I'm joined this week by...
Kathleen.
And...
Nelson.
And we have a topic for you today. But first, let's talk about the sponsors of this show. First up, we have Card Kingdom. CardKingdom.com/LRR. That /LRR, that'll apply the affiliate code. It lets them know that we sent you. It's super helpful, so don't forget that. Kathleen, talk about Card Kingdom.
Card Kingdom is a wonderful retailer. They maintain 2 brick and mortar stores in the greater Seattle area, but also they have a magnificent and terrifying online presence. And I can truly say, from being in their warehouse, that they are a kingdom of cards.
Nelson.
They also will send you sealed product anywhere in America, or if you want individual Magic cards, even multiple individual Magic cards, they'll send those anywhere in the world. And if you mention that LRR sent me button, please, they'll also include a little 1-inch button that says Mowu Planeswalkies.
I mean, that's currently what the button is. No promises that's what button you will get when this eventually goes out on Monday, because maybe they'll have already gone through all those buttons. Who knows? That's cardkingdom.com/LRR. They've been sponsoring us for many, many years. We love them. We use them, so should you go check them out. And, of course, patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. We couldn't do any of this without your support over at patreon.com. And, yeah, it's pretty great. Thank you for giving us money to make silly things.
You did this.
Like a podcast about magic.
I personally deeply appreciate it.
Yes.
You know what you did.
And keep doing it.
Please.
All right. Let's crack a pack.
Crackety
Who wants to roll
packety.
dice? Here, you go roll a dice.
I guess I'm
Who
rolling dice.
wants
I'm
to?
going to roll it towards Nelson, okay?
All right. And then Nelson can stop it and hit 2.
We alley-ooped into
1.
2.
That was a team effort.
2. We are cracking a pack of Masters 25.
Ooh, spicy.
Which is pretty spicy. This is from Elizabeth from PAX Australia 2018.
Ooh, how recent.
Crikey. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Quite recent. So,
I don't think they say that in Melbourne.
Crikey.
I think
She's a wild one.
All right. Beach, you got it all set up? You think? We're going to find out?
I think.
All right.
I'm from everywhere,
Is that where the
man.
card goes?
Further forward.
Hoot.
Further forward.
Hoot.
Is that where you like it,
It
Beach?
should have.
Boy, it should have acquired that by now. Let me just see if I can play with that.
All right. Well, in the meantime, I can talk to you about Mog Flunkies. It's a 3/3 for 1 and a red. Well, boy, howdy. That's some good stats right there.
Watchful stats.
But it does have some extra text which says it can't attack or block alone. I mean, I still love these cards.
It's a goblin. Why would it want to attack or block alone?
Exactly.
I
Why would
feel-
it want to block at all?
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
fair.
and if you have Goblin, you're just going to turn all goblins sideways.
Yeah. No, I love these cards that cost a little, but you get a lot, but they have to,
They got a conditional drawback.
They need friends, and I think that's super cool.
Why isn't there like an entry-level job that you can get when you're 17 that's title is just flunky? It's just like I worked at that warehouse and I kind of was just the
I was
system
just a
manager's
flunky.
goon.
I mean, yeah, that's. I mean,
You go there, do this.
Those jobs exist.
Yeah.
And your bosses call you that.
Yeah,
They just don't publicly say it.
that's right.
Yeah.
So, anyways, next up we have the White Mane Lion. This is 1 and a white for a 2/2. It's a cat, and it has flash. And it says when White Mane Lion enters a battlefield, return a creature you control to its owner's hands.
That's always like a good card for abusing ETB effects.
Yeah, abusing ETB effects, saving a chump block maybe with flash means that you can make your blocks and then flash this in, bring something back to your hand to save it from maybe getting run over. I like these
Shuts
cards.
down removal.
Shuts
If
down
you have it,
removal.
if you have
Yeah.
it, it's kind of like a counterspell for removal.
I feel
Yeah.
like this is like a standard in Pauper Cube, like this
Oh,
sort
yeah,
of White
for
Mane
sure.
Lion ETB effect. I don't know.
I mean, both of these cards are, I would say, are probably pretty common in Pauper Cubes for sure.
I'm going
Although,
to take
be
the
fair,
lion over the flunkies. though.
Yes, I would currently take the
Very
lion.
powerful.
Next up, we have Nezumi Cutthroat. 1 and a black. We're sticking on our 1 and a colored theme here. Rat Warrior. It's a 2/1, and it has Fear, which means it can't be blocked except for by artifact creatures and or black creatures. And it also can't block itself. I mean, evasion is always pretty decent, especially in a 2-drop where if you can get this thing down on curve, you start bashing in for 2 every turn. Feels pretty good.
I played this card in Standard.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's just like okay at wearing Jitte, and you need to play 60 cards, and they can't all be Hand of Death.
So what standard?
What a just glowing endorsement there.
Yeah. It would have been Kamigawa Ravnica Standard, I think.
Okay.
No, Kamigawa Onslaught Standard.
Okay.
Is that right? No, Kamigawa Mirrodin. There we go. We got there.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm still in a limited format, in the Masters 25 limited format. I think I'm still with the cat.
Yeah.
Over this?
guy's
Cats
pretty,
eat rats.
This guy's
Yeah.
pretty medium. But
Yeah.
if you have a Jitte, suddenly this is the best cards that we've seen so far.
Yeah.
All right. Moving along. One in a green. We're doing it. We're getting there. Anok Survivalists. It is a creature hound shaman. It's another 2/1. It has Megamorph, so for 1 in a green, you may cast this card face down as a 2/2 creature for 3. Turn it face up at any time for the Megamorph cost, which, as I said, was 1 in a green. When it is turned face up, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
It's like
okay.
I mean, it's a 3/2 for 5, which is bad. But you get to pay in installments, which is good, and you get to get an artifact, which is very good if you need to get it, or an enchantment. Lots of enchantment-based removal. I don't know about in this set though.
This card is probably more relevant in Masters 25 than it was in Dragons of Tarkir.
Yes.
I think so.
For sure.
There weren't a ton of artifacts and enchantments you needed to blow up in Dragons, I don't think.
I know there weren't a lot of artifacts. There's like a couple there was the banners though.
bolster
You could
enchantment or
you
something?
could really
Yeah,
hose
I
people on
guess,
their
yeah.
banners.
Yeah.
If that was their mana fixing, I
Yeah.
think. I don't think that you were ever like super like jazzed to destroy an
You could-
artifact.
If you blew
or an
up your
enchantment.
opponent's like cloud form, then maybe you wouldn't lose to it. So there's
Right.
that.
Oh,
there were
yeah.
There were the blue and white enchantments that manifest a creature and then give them some evasion. Those were pretty scary.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Do you think we can complete the set?
If we get a 1 and a blue, then yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like I want to check the pack wrapper.
I was gonna say I don't remember what the common 1 in a blue creature was, because this is all 2 power. Oh no, we had 1 3 power, so it doesn't fit there.
But they're
but
all 2 drops that cost
Okay.
1 colored mana.
It's a blue card.
Let's find out.
Ah, damn it, Horseshoe Crab!
So close.
You ruined it. Horseshoe Crab is 2 in a blue for a 1/3 crab, and for 1 blue, untap it. That's it.
It's pretty cool if you put something on that gives it a tap ability.
Yeah, I remember there being ways to kind of abuse this in the format, drafting the Horseshoe Crab deck, or at least drafting the crab in the. I don't even remember what it was, but it's fun. Yeah.
There was a standard combo with it with I want to say Pyromancer's skill or Lavamancer's skill or something like that. So it was just like turns it into a Prodigal Pyromancer, and then you can start fireballing your opponent every turn.
Right. All right. Next up, we have Kindle. 1 and a red for an instant. Kindle deals X damage to target creature or player, where X is 2+ the number of cards named Kindle in all graveyards.
So the first Kindle is fine, but it
bad
starts
shock,
to get
yeah.
very good.
No,
I think.
So you have an overpriced shock, and then you have an Incinerate, and then you have a Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
Right,
So
because the X, it
It's
doesn't,
the third one that pays off.
because a lot of people.
But if your opponent's running a Kindle wall, but then
Hope you draw more Kindles than that.
Yeah. Because, it is in all graveyards, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, so your opponent can get you too.
Yeah, but X is 0 on the first cast.
Yeah.
Where I know some people had thought that you cast it, it goes to the graveyard. And
Then it resolves?
And then
No.
it resolves. It's like, no, that's not how Magic works. But,
No.
it would be way better if it did.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been much more of a splash back then if it did. It's from Tempest, which already had there was a really good mono red burn deck that didn't play this, I think.
Right.
Like Fire Blast is from Visions. Is that the same block? Mirage. I think Tempest came after Mirage, right? So
I believe that
you
is
have
correct.
in this block of Standard, you have access to like Mog Fanatic and Fire Blast and Thunderbolt and Lightning Blast, I think. So there was a
This
good
just
mono red
didn't have a
deck.
place.
As somebody who didn't play it this time, you could have told me that there was a mono red deck that ran Hoobly Doodle blogs, and I'd be like, "Wow, I've never seen that card. I guess it's a commander staple."
Important
Right.
segue into Kathleen's dreams. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, Dauntless Cathar.
Oh,
2
I remember
and
this card.
a white for a human soldier. 3/2. 1 and a white. Exile it from your graveyard. Create a 1/1 white spirit token with flying. Activate this ability only at any time you could cast a sorcery. This card. I mean, in Innistrad, this card was fine. I don't remember how good it was in Masters 25, but I mean, any card like 3/2 for 3 mana is fine, and being able to cash in down the line later for a 1/1 spirit token with flying is, I mean, that's pretty
I'm
decent.
pretty sure I first picked this card once out of a pack of Shadows over Innistrad.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah, because wasn't there some sort of like spirits deck or something?
I mean, yeah,
just
sure,
solid.
but
It's
it's just a yeah,
Doesn't require anything to make it good.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
just yeah,
Yeah, 2 bodies,
Yeah.
1 card.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, great card. Next up, we have Relentless Rats. 1 black for a rat. It's a 2/2, and it gets +1/+1 for each other creature on the battlefield named Relentless Rats. The deck can have any number of cards named Relentless Rats.
This was the first printing of Relentless Rats at Common, wasn't it?
I believe it was.
think so, yeah.
Yeah. It was never a card I played in this format. Much like any of these kind of cards where it's just like, you can have as many as you want.
Right.
I mean, in limited, that's okay.
Like 5 maybe?
5, 6 if you're lucky. I mean, if I could get 6 Relentless Rats in draft, then sure, I would do it for the lulz, but
If you can play 6 Relentless Rats in your deck, it's probably fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a big if. So, it was fine.
When do you ever see 6 of any common in a draft?
It's rare, but it happens. You know, especially if you're at a larger than 8-player pod.
Yeah.
And then you get a bit lucky too.
I mean, the thing
right?
is that these kind of cards reward you, though, so it's fairly rare. People will see these and be like, ooh, maybe I can pick up more later. But the thing is that a lot of people have that same thought.
Yeah, there's always a second Relentless
yeah.
Ratser at the table,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
you both don't
And then
play them.
and then everybody gets 2 rats
Yeah,
and
and
nobody
then-
runs any of
Yeah,
them.
exactly. They sit in your sideboard.
Yeah.
Next up, Epic Confrontation. 1 and a green sorcery. Target creature you control gets +1/+2 until end of turn. It fights target creature you don't control. This is a great combat removal kill you thing. Yeah.
I like that it buffs toughness,
Yeah.
so your dude can hopefully live.
Yeah.
It also was just like, I think. Oh no, right. It came. This is 2 sets after the one with the guy punching the bear. It was this block.
Yeah,
Khans of
Savage,
Tarkir
whatever.
introduced, Savage Punch, right?
Yeah.
Like the artist showed just a human punching a bear with
Yeah.
the same exact expression as on this art, and it was very much loved by the community.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is little, because I think Savage Punch was +2/+2.
That sounds right.
So this is a little worse in that it's +1/+2. But the +2 is nice because, yeah, as Kathleen said, it helps protect your creature a little bit. There it is. Oh, okay, yeah.
It was
so
Ferocious gives you +2/+2,
yeah,
right?
okay.
So it wasn't strictly better. This one just always gives.
So
you
I mean,
+2/+2.
that's more of an uppercut, and this is more of and Savage Punch is more, yeah.
a downer cut,
That's
maybe.
not
It's
more
a
like
down-
a
yeah, it's a-
left hook.
Yeah, left hook, down cut, uppercut, down hook, left cut. Okay, anyways, moving on.
Downer cut.
Downer cut.
Yeah.
All right.
We coined it.
How
Yeah,
about
that's it.
fencing ace?
I like Fencing Ace.
Master of the downer cut.
Another 2-drop. There are been a lot of those in this pack. This is a 1/1 for 2. It has double strike though.
So it's technically a 2/1 for 2.
Sure, yeah.
Kind of.
I mean, these cards are great if you can get stuff on them, whether they be auras or enchantments or
Equipment.
Any way to sort of to toughen them up a little bit, because I mean, this thing dies to a 2/2.
Yeah.
I think I only drafted it
but-
once, but one of the most hilarious decks in Return to Ravnica is just this guy, and it's an aura they actually play in Bogles in Modern. I forget, but it's also in the common run. This was uncommon. It's common in this set, but it was uncommon in RTR, so it was pretty hard to put together. But yeah, if you could, you just grabbed cheap creatures. As many of them are Fencing Ace as possible, or they have 3 power, and then you just put. Can anyone remember what it's called? It counts the number of auras that are in play, and it gives +1/+1 and first strike. For
I
each
know
aura.
what you're talking about, but
Okay.
I don't remember what it's called.
All right. Well, just scroll
fine.
down. Someone else has written it down for me.
Yeah, it's in the comments there somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about. And yeah, that was a fun deck. All right, moving on to the uncommons. First up, we have Swift Foot Boots. 2 mana,
Commander staple.
2 mana, artifact, equipment. Equipped creature has hexproof and haste. Equips for 1. Yeah, absolutely.
I think I'd take that.
The boots.
The boots.
Boots are great.
So
'Cause,
far,
like,
yeah,
it's
nothing's
just
been
good-
super scary in this pack.
Like, it's just to protect your best creature, right?
Yep.
You know. You know, I go to equip boots. Do you have a response?
Well, and just being able to protect it, but not only more or less give any creature you play, as long as you can keep up that 1 extra mana to give it haste.
Yeah.
Feels really good. Like, even if you're just putting this on your, your big dumb 6/6 for 6, if you can cast that on turn 7 and just pay for hexproof and haste that same turn, that's pretty good. Like, it's not the worst. At least in draft, it's not the worst.
I always find it a difficult decision if you're only getting haste out of it. Really, like for 1 more mana, there's Strider Harness, which gives +1/+1 in haste, and also only equips for 1. So it's a similar amount of benefit and only 1 extra casting cost. And I still often find it hard to make room for Strider Harness in the various formats.
What's Lightning Greaves again?
Lightning Greaves is 2 mana to
Shroud.
cast. It gives Shroud instead of Hexproof, which is worse.
Yeah.
Although maybe not relevantly so, depending on your deck. But it equips for 0.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. And there's not a ton of equipment that equips for 0.
Yeah, there it is.
Because it enables combos.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Moving on. Our next uncommon is Deadly Designs. For 1 and a black enchantment. For 2 mana, put a plot counter on Deadly Designs. Any player may activate this ability. When there are 5 or more plot counters on Deadly Designs, sacrifice it. If you do, destroy up to 2 target creatures. I have never seen this card before in my life.
It's from
No.
Conspiracy.
It's from the second conspiracy, I
Conspiracy
think.
2, Take the Crown, maybe?
Okay.
Yeah.
Conspiracy 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Blue.
This card is a conspiracy card that is relevant in multiplayer. Like, it has multiplayer design, and it's in this 2-player format. So I feel like
Why is it in this 2-player format?
I feel like it's to point out how much worse it would be in a 2-player
In 2-player
game.
format,
But
yeah.
you know what it is? It is a great target for that green megamorph creature that when you reveal it, you can destroy an artifact or enchantment. Imagine somebody else puts a bunch of mana into this,
Yeah,
and then you're like, ha, not so fast.
fair.
Uh,
Yeah, this is a weird card. Don't
Yeah.
pick this card if you're drafting Masters 25.
I don't know.
Next up, classic. Pyroclasm.
Hey.
1 and a red deals 2 damage to each creature.
We got my favorite pick out of the pack so
yeah,
far.
100% favorite pick.
I also love this printing of it.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, I love the printing of this whole set, actually. I really like the large watermarks in the background of the
To let
text
you know
box.
where they came
But
from.
they came out particularly nicely on a few cards, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a big fan of the center line text. I mean, that one's gorgeous.
Really?
We're
I
looking
like
at-
this one more than that one.
I mean, I like it more just because I'm generally not a huge fan of those
The full art?
the full
Full
arts.
arts, yeah.
I mean,
The
they're
MPRs.
gorgeous and they show off that one's dumb.
yeah.
Oh, really? That's the one I often play. That's the original. Pat Morrissey hasn't done a ton of work for Magic, I guess. But
No.
The
that
full
one's the
art-
rarest one.
Yeah, from
The-
Portal. Oh, there's a seventh edition
It's
one.
the most
The
expensive
full
foil
art cards
one, right?
are beautiful,
Yeah.
but like they're just so miserable if you don't know what the card does.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like as another player, like you see
Sure.
somebody's like super tricked out commander deck and it's like, what does that do?
I
What
mean,
does that do?
Magic is kind of a game that requires your phone these days anyway.
Sure.
Right? So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's good as long as you can read the name. If you have a foreign full art card, just play where there are judges.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you bring a foreign full art card to someone's kitchen table game, it's kind of like, right?
Yeah.
All right.
It's tough.
We have our rare. There's also a foil because
Oh.
there was a foil in every pack of
Is
this.
the foil a rare?
I don't know. I'm not going to look. I have not looked, but we're
Okay.
going to look at the rare first.
Laquatus's champion.
Hell yeah. 4 black for a nightmare horror. It's a 6/3. When it enters the battlefield, target player loses 6 life. When it leaves the battlefield, that player gains 6 life. And for 1 black, you can regenerate it.
So just out of curiosity, if you regenerate this creature, does it count as leaving and re-entering the
No.
battlefield?
Sure doesn't.
Interesting.
No, yeah. it does
Regeneration replaces being destroyed. So.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So this comes down. I play it. I nug Nelson for 6, and
Ouch.
then Nelson has to hope that he can get rid of it somehow when
Which is
I
why
don't
it
have
had-
that 1 black
And
mana.
yeah,
up.
exactly. And that's why it has that regeneration clause, is that so you can do your damn best to keep it alive to stop the person that you just dealt 6 damage to from gaining that 6 life back. So I kind of
fun card.
dig the design on this kind of card. This it's neat. I don't know if I would play it.
I played it in Cube once, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of weird. As a 6/3, it's kind of weird. I mean, if it didn't have the regenerate, obviously it would be significantly worse. But with the regenerate, I guess the 6 or the 3 toughness isn't quite as awkward. But
Yeah, I mean, it's not it's not a really busted card, but it's kind of a fun card.
Yeah.
A little quick question. If you could get all those sick gains on your quads, would you put up with your arms turning into that many tentacles?
No.
All right.
I would not.
I feel like maybe I'd go for it. I don't
Okay.
know. Yeah. Beach is on my side. We're split 50-50.
Okay, that's fair. I don't know if this will show up, but it's the Goblin token. And finally, we have our rare. It's not...
Or our
Or
foil.
our foil, sorry.
foil.
It's
Ooh,
the
it's a
Humble
cool card.
Defector. It's a good card. It is another 2-drop.
Is
Can
it
I
a
just-
good card? It's an interesting card.
It's an interesting
Yeah.
card. So
Yeah.
one in a red for a 2/1 human rogue. Tap it, draw 2 cards. Target opponent gains control of Humble Defector, hence the Defector. Activated this ability only during your turn. So play it. The next turn, draw 2 cards, give it to your opponent, and now they're in a position where they can do the same thing, and you can kind of just trade it back and forth. I mean, drawing 2 cards is kind of sweet.
There's some
but-
ways. Yeah, there's some ways to trick this card so that your opponent doesn't draw the cards.
I mean,
you know.
do you block with it and then tap, right? And then tap it like
You're only allowed to do it during your turn, so you can't do
I'll
that.
activate this
Yeah.
ability only during. Wow, I could have just kept reading it.
Yeah, that's okay. It's a good question otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can just play like some cards like Brooding Saurion, or there's a land that does it. You can tap and like you get back all your things. There's a few. There's another creature besides Brooding Saurion, I think, that also does it. I want to say like Trostani.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a
you're
few
right.
there's a few cards that are just like everybody gets back all the things they own. And then there's a few other cards like Brand, I believe, where it's just like I get back the things that I own. Or you can just bounce it, right? Because all bounce cards say like return to their owner's hand. So there's various ways to turn this into like a card advantage engine.
It just requires a little bit of work. There's
yeah,
some setup.
but it didn't. Yeah, but in modern, I don't think it. Sorry, in standard, it didn't ever make any waves, and in modern, it's still just like you could do it, but the other ways to draw a bunch of cards are generally more powerful, less flimsy, and less mana intensive.
Right.
Yeah.
So it remains kind of a neat card, and like potentially there will at some point be a pairing card with this that makes this card really worthwhile. Because I mean, it's on a piker.
Yeah.
So that's not the
Yeah, no,
worst.
it's not bad.
You know, Young Pyromancer and Snapcaster Mage are also pikers, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So here's a fun question. There are 15 cards here in my hand. How many of them were 2-drops?
Like
6?
12?
You were the closest. There are 11.
Okay.
Whoa.
The
2
Deadly
drop.
Designs was also a 2
Mog
drop,
Flunkies, White Main Line, Cutthroat, Survivalist, Kindle, Confrontation, Ace, Boots, Designs, Humble Defector, Pyroclasm. There are only 4 cards here
Oh,
that
right.
cost more than 2 mana,
Right.
Wow.
which seems statistically improbable. Like, that's a lot
Are
of
you up
2
to
drops.
something, Elizabeth? Do you have a very bright
Yeah.
lamp?
Yeah. How'd you do that?
Yeah.
Anyways, so what's your first pick? It's kind of an interesting pack.
I kind of like the Pyroclasm,
Yeah?
but the Champ is also interesting. Like, I don't think I have ever drafted this format. I wanted to, but I don't think I ever got the chance to draft it even once.
Okay.
Unless I was here for the FNPF where you guys drafted it, but I'm not sure that I was.
I mean, I think we still have a
not.
box of this around. So
Oh,
if we ever,
baby.
if we
Nelson
ever-
wants to draft.
If we ever do a draft of
Yeah,
it.
okay.
So it's like probably between these 2 cards?
I think
What do you
so.
think? What do you think?
I don't know.
You
like,
liked the boots, Kathleen? Do you?
No, now that I've seen the Pyroclasm.
yeah,
don't wanna-
I mean, like this has...
Pyroclasm just seems really good against this pack.
Yeah,
It's all-
like that's the thing.
At least 2
Pyroclasm
drops, yeah.
kills everything in
really
this
wins
pack.
the match test, except for Laquata's Champ,
Yeah,
right?
it kills every creature in this pack except for Horseshoe Crab and the champion.
Like,
So,
and I feel like even if you take Pyroclasm, like looking at the other red stuff in the pack, you're not like sending a signal that like red is like, there's nothing so good that you think the person to your left is going to start moving into red, right?
Yeah.
The Emperor Confrontation's maybe a decent choice too.
Sure.
Like, it's a good removal spell.
Yeah, and you're not, again, if you're looking at doing the whole signal thing, you're not passing much in the way of green, so...
I don't think this pack is
I don't
capable
know.
of sending a bad signal because it was pretty medium.
It
right?
was pretty medium.
Yeah.
I would agree. Just in terms on power level of this set especially, that pack was kind of whatever.
Did you get to draft this set much?
I mean, we would have drafted it once or twice here, and I feel like we did it on Mitgo a few times for the stream, but like, it's again, I mean, these master sets, you don't get to generally, unless you're willing to put in the money on Mitgo.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't get to draft them that much. Like,
No.
if I drafted this set, it was less than a handful, for sure. And I don't remember it And but I mean, just opening this pack, I'm like, this seemed kind of fun. I remember it being kind of underwhelming, just in terms of like the cards in the set. I remember people being kind of disappointed,
Right.
with the set in general. But whatever, it was still fun. Still had
Was
some
there
cool cards.
Jace in this one, or was that the next one? There were so many master sets.
I
hard to
honestly,
remember
yeah,
them
that's
all.
the thing
Yeah.
is that that's the one thing I think people were super excited because it's like, oh man, this is like the set to celebrate all of Magic's history, and it's just kind of like, I mean, you look at these cards and it's like, really, like
Yeah.
Dauntless Cathar, like
Right.
Fencing Ace, really, this is the best that Magic has to offer
It's funny.
us?
Well, it's funny because it looks like a normal pack of Magic, like so many do. Like
Yeah.
these master sets is just like, well, yeah, that's still the commons. It's
Yep.
like there's 10 cards that you don't care about probably.
That's
Jace
fair.
the Mind Sculptor was in Masters 25.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, I gave you Jace, and I remember Blood Moon was in there.
Yes.
I'm sure there were some other hits,
Yep.
but
All right,
Some
that's fair.
good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think that's going to do it for the Crack-A-Pack session. Thank you to, was it Elizabeth?
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Elizabeth. We appreciate it. I'm hoping in the near future to do a proper Crack-A-Pack Fest where we open a lot of packs, but quickly.
do you want to do it as
Because-
a stream or do you want to do it as a
No,
podcast?
we'll do it as a podcast because so we have about 20 packs in the Crack-A-Pack box right now, but we probably have about 100 packs in the drawer right now, and we have Magic Fest Seattle coming up. We have Magic Fest Las Vegas at the end of August. We're going to get a lot more packs. I want to try to get through some of them. I want you guys to experience your pack being opened and not just languish in a drawer for the next 6 years.
But instead of being
So-
carefully analyzed at the beginning of an episode of Tap Tap Concede, we're going to do a Crack-A-Pack flurry
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
where there's just wrappers going everywhere.
just everywhere. It's going to
Yeah.
be a mess.
It looks like a combine harvester for cards.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, so let's move on to today's topic, which we haven't said yet, and for good reason, because there really isn't one.
It's just time to wrap with your friends James, Nelson, and Kathleen. Nelson, how's it going?
I'm
So,
good.
I think by virtue of this podcast not having a topic, and we probably could have figured one out, we kind of found a topic in that talking about making content for Magic, because I'm sure that a lot of you at home are fans of the game. Otherwise, I don't know why you'd be listening to this podcast.
Our beautiful faces.
Yeah, they just
I
like
get
looking
it.
Our
into
lovely
your beautiful
voices.
brown
I mean,
eyes,
that's
James.
fine. If that's the
Yeah.
case, I appreciate it. But most of you probably love this game. But I would guess that there are periods of time where you kind of just are magicked out. Like, even if it's just like a week or two. Like, I'm not talking about big, long breaks where I'm talking...
Nelson's looking at you like you're an insect. He's like, I don't. What?
I don't know what that means. What are you talking
I get
about?
magicked out every weekend.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, and
it
that's the thing,
happens.
right?
It
Is that,
happens.
and again, I'm not talking about big long breaks. I'm not talking about like I'm done with Magic for a while. I'm going to take a year break, or I've been away from the game for years and years, and I'm coming back. I'm talking about like a position that I currently find myself in, where my interest in Magic as a whole has been basically zero for the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Interesting.
For no other reason than just my mind has been occupied by other things.
Animal Crossing.
Not in my case. I mean, that being said, the new Animal Crossing game on the Switch looks really good, and it might actually make me try Animal Crossing. Beach, can we turn this into an Animal Crossing podcast?
Yikes.
It's completely up to you. The question I would like, or the thing I would say though, is that also Magic being a significant part of your job, like planning pre-releases and making sure we're ready to go to events and doing that kind of thing. Like Magic is you're saying that the amount of interest you have in it is zero, but it's like the amount of interest you have, I'm sure, in sitting down to play is zero because your mind is occupied
Yes.
with all the other things surrounding it.
Correct. I think that's probably fairly unique to people in this building's experience, where even when your interest in playing Magic is at a zero, you can't ever let it fully escape your brain, right? I'm organizing pre-releases. Kathleen is writing Friday nights. Nelson is on almost every episode of Tap Tap Concede. There are just some days where you're like, I don't know, like I guess we'll talk about Magic or something.
As somebody who has a small human at home, and I don't know if Nelson experiences this as well, but like I
Yeah,
find
my cards are all eaten. Yeah.
I
Go
keep
ahead.
them in a drawer out of the way.
She's so smart.
But for me, it's just like I get the inkling to play Magic a lot more than I have the time to play Magic.
Sure. Yeah.
So I just watch a lot of Magic content, and it's almost like cracking packs yourself.
Right.
It's not quite.
Yeah, I try to watch Magic content, and then the kids insist that I put on Paw Patrol instead. So
Oh, that's my life too.
Yeah. No,
Paw
I think
Patrol. Paw Patrol. Be
I
there
actually-
on the double.
no job's too big. No amount of getting to play Magic is too small. I think I do experience getting Magic'd out, but it's been a while for me since I've felt like I've actually played too much Magic. But I think there's a similar thing that happens where we're like, trying to make sure that we churn out enough content and like we have this regular production schedule, and sometimes like you feel a creative burnout that's similar.
Sure.
And it's like related to Magic, so it sort of feels like being Magic'd out, but instead we just like, what really happens is we're like, topic for TTC.
Right.
Out.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Like the
Yeah.
conversation for this episode was, okay, what are we going to talk about? There was the idea of talking about the Mythic Championship that's happening next weekend, but my knowledge and interest in that topic right now is very low, mainly just because I haven't really been paying close enough attention, and I don't feel like I can have a fairly informed opinion or conversation about it.
It's in Barcelona.
No.
No?
It's in Vegas.
It's in Vegas.
Vegas.
So the one that's happening next weekend, that's Mythic Championship 3.
3.
I think it's so
3.
Mythic Championship 3 next week is arena only. The one in Barcelona
Right,
is
right,
happening
right.
next month or in August.
July.
That's in Barcelona, and that's a proper Pro Tour.
Tabletop.
That's a proper tabletop Pro
Mythic
Tour,
Championship, yeah.
Mythic Championship. That's sort of the classic. But
Right.
so the one that's happening next weekend, or next weekend, the same weekend as Magic Fest Seattle, which is kind of awkward, is the one where there's only like 70 or 80 players.
I think
or
it's
something
64, or maybe it increased.
It increased because they invited some people. So.
Yeah, I want to say that I feel kind of the same way. I am looking forward to catching some of the games of the upcoming MC if I can, but I also feel less invested and excited about it because although billed as a Mythic Championship, like sharing the title with the 200 to 500 player tabletop tournament, it's only 64 players that are going, so it feels more like an invitational. It's closer to being like the invitationals of the past, or even earlier this year's invitational at
like legit
PAX Boston,
invita-
right?
yeah.
It's similar, right? Because it's only the elites, just the MPL and a few challengers, and then also I think they added on a few extra seat invites, right? Just invited people. So it's a bit harder to feel connected to that. This is my experience, is like I've always felt connected to watching the Pro Tours because I took part in the grind somehow, whether it was I ran PPTQs or I ran PTQs or I played in PTQs or I helped people prepare for PTQs, or sometimes I just like helped people who won PTQs prepare to go and play in those tournaments. On the local kind of like tangible level, as a Magic player, I feel connected to that event, whereas with the invitationals, I can't really have that, unless you're like actually, Luis Scott Vargas's roommate, or
I don't think he
Luis
has a roommate.
Salvato's. Well, he probably has a plant.
he has a
or something.
dog.
Yeah,
He has a
He does
child.
have a dog,
yeah.
a child, but
Yeah.
like I don't.
Sorry, I
think,
don't know that much about LSV's personal life. Yeah.
But like, for me, do you think you would feel more invested if it was like, hey, this is an MPL invitational, right? And it wasn't like, this is a Mythic Championship. They're like, this MPL invitational stream, and you just watch the best of the MPL and like some of these other invitational people, and sort of they delineated it to be like, these are the smaller invite only events, and then here's the real big ones like the one they're having in Barcelona and stuff like that.
Right. Well, I guess it's like it's funny thinking that they use like the term "real big," or this is the big event, and it's just controlling hype, right? And so maybe I would maybe it'd be easier for me just personally as a viewer, right, to have the Mythic Championship title reserved for like, okay, there's like people from all over the world are getting together, and there's like a lot of them because there's a lot of countries where people play Magic. And just have those 4 events or however many they're going to actually have of those per year. And then separately just say like, oh, there's 4 invitationals per year, right? Because, I mean, the hype machine for the event in Boston obviously worked.
Oh, absolutely, it did.
Yeah. So maybe they're just supposed to expand on that instead.
Yep.
I don't know.
I mean, on that topic, I just think that organized play as a whole is just just sort of struggling to find its footing right now.
Well, because they're going through a huge
and
pivot, I guess.
Absolutely,
they're
are.
coming out of their shell big time this year.
And I'm going. I am definitely the kind of person who will give that kind of movement time to find their footing, as I just said, and not jump down their throats. After only, by saying after only 6 months, it's like, well, that's still a lot of time, but it's one thing to say they should have just had all this figured out at the very start. Clearly they didn't. So now we're in this other scenario where they need to figure it out. And I'm just going to live in this scenario and just pretend that they should have had it figured out at the start. Never is just not going to happen.
Well,
right?
it's also very difficult to predict how like an organized play system will work for your viewers and your players until you see it in action, right? Like they may have had some ideas about how this would work, and now they may be like, oh, this isn't quite doing what we want it to do. Or, adjustments are probably things are probably happening behind the scenes.
It's easy maybe to say like, hey, you had 6 months, you had a year, you had 18 months or whatever to put this together. But really what it comes down to is like, well, they haven't done it yet at all, right?
Sure.
This is this coming up MC is still the first one of these. Like, even though it's fairly similar to the Invitational, it's still vastly different. It's not happening at PAX. The invite list is different. The structure is going to be different. So it's still just like the first time. So everyone who's worked on it and has been promoting it or whatever and is going to make it come together it's still just like they've only had one time coming up to do it. So after they've done it once, we get to maybe judge them like, okay, you did it once, are you going to do it differently the second time? After the second time we see the arena only Mythic Championship happen, then you can kind of say like, regardless of time, you've had 2 iterations, right? And so it's easier for us who work in this building to think about it that way, because we similarly put together production schedules where there's like a hype period and a certain amount of time, and then like, maybe something comes out at us out of the blue and we don't catch it until we've had one opportunity, one instance to do it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Cool.
But I think circling back to the lack of, we just kind of talked about the MPL and stuff like that, but I think for me talking about a lack of interest in the game, I think also stems from just how much talk there is of the game sometimes, and how kind of negative it can be, which kind of
the internet,
which definitely
negative,
definitely
that's
wears me
another
down.
form of burnout, isn't it?
Yeah,
I also am a little tired of
it's just
being
like
disappointed in the Magic community, or just being mad at Wizards. Like, I don't want that forever.
And I get like it's easy to say it's just all a matter of perspective, and why are you getting angry at this? And,
the oceans are dying, they're choked with plastic,
exactly.
Get freaked out about that.
And I understand that it's easy and simple to sort of redirect that anger at something complicated and huge to something stupid and silly like Magic, which it is. End of the day, it's a card game and we all have fun playing it, but people like getting mad, and it's easier to get mad at something that doesn't matter a whole lot at the end of the day. So that's definitely weighs on me when it comes to burning out of the game. And then that sort of has this sort of like, snowballing effect where I'm tired of the arguing of this game, and then in turn I'm tired of this game when maybe I don't want to be, right? Like maybe I want to love playing this game and go home and open arena. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna close this down. Go watch TV.
That's funny. Yeah, I was trying to say I feel kind of the opposite. I can't play arena all night or anything, but like I am kind of chomping at the bit to play Magic. My computer's broken, so I haven't played arena in like a week.
Like it comes in bursts for sure. Like when War of the Spark first came out, I don't think I've had so much fun playing a limited format in a very long time.
Maybe you're just burned out of like Magic because you played so much War of the Spark. Because James
it's
played
possible.
a lot of War of the Spark.
I played a lot of War of the Spark, but not like a lot.
To give you an example from my life, whereas sometimes I listen to an album a lot, and I'm like, oh, I'm done with this band, and I'm not. I just need to take a break and walk away from it and come back.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe it's a different format, or just not playing Magic at all.
Yeah, and that's
Play
what
Yu-Gi-Oh.
And that's what I do, right? Is that I fully expect. It's the same for a lot of things, right? Like video games, music, movies, whatever. You just sort of step away from from it a little bit, and then there are events that come along and really kind of kick your ass back into gear. Like I said this on Twitter the other day, and it's very true, and it's always been true that E3, while completely absurd in terms of scope and what it means for the gaming community as a whole, always gets me excited about video games again. Right,
because you see all this cool stuff.
Yeah,
that's
you get to see all
happening.
this cool stuff that's happening, and I guarantee you that, a week today we leave for Magic Fest Seattle. A week tomorrow, Magic Fest Seattle starts. I guarantee you that a week tomorrow, I'm going to be like, yeah, Magic is awesome.
Yeah, you're gonna have fun once you're at Magic
And
Fest,
plus-
for sure. Yeah.
And plus, the core set's coming out, which is not the most exciting set for the enfranchised player, but the core set is the perfect time for you to round up somebody you know that doesn't play as much, and then have a nice, refreshing, fun, traditional, relaxing game of like old-fashioned Magic with some people who aren't just like, oh, I've got deep opinions about the structure of the Mythic Championship. They're like, cool, I gave my dude double strike.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that takes you back. You're like,
Yeah, I mean,
right?
I'm so happy they brought the core set
take
back.
8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think the core set does a great job of sort of resetting everybody in the Magic community. Just
I
bringing
love
this simple
core
set
set
in because it's
gameplay.
just so basic.
I love it.
love
There's
it.
something
Yeah, it's
about
really
that
nice.
straightforward white cards do white things, blue cards do blue things kind of core set gameplay that I don't always want to play, but it makes me nostalgic for like just learning to play Magic. Because of course, whenever you start to play Magic, I started to play later than you, Nelson. But like people were like, here's some core set cards.
Mm-hmm.
They're super straightforward, and it's like, oh, I remember those days, those halcyon days of youth.
I just really like the draft environments of core set because there's just certain levels of like understanding and depth to Magic, and they're there with all the games. But I find that whenever you're drafting core set, you get to kind of like just skip to the later ones faster, and everyone's doing it. So like in a War of the Spark draft, you might have a draft that just like completely falls apart in the draft stage,
Right.
Because you missed a cue or something, or you got bogged down in some portion
Or
of
somebody
that.
else pivoted because they opened a ridiculous bomb, and you
Yeah.
had thought you had planted your flag, but then you get cut on your colors.
And it's totally valid, like, and that's fine. There's something to learn there, but it's like much more rare for that to happen in a core set game. And then it's similarly in deck building, it's like you're probably going to know the right choices to make in your core set deck building, and then when you're playing, it's like unless someone gets stuck on mana, you're going to get into the mid and late game of your games of Magic, and then you're going to actually just get to see the interesting deep interactions between your fairly simple cards. Like that's, to me, the beauty of the core set is just like Magic already is just like quite complicated, just without cards that have a million words on them.
Yeah.
It's just a complicated game.
At its base,
Yeah.
there's still so much happening
And
to keep track of.
And you really get to be reminded of that, I think.
Yep.
Of course. Also, these 3 Chandras that they've already spoiled look freaking great.
Can we talk about how one of them is an uncommon?
So yeah, it's an uncommon, a rare, and a mythic rare.
Yeah.
Beej, if you go to Mythic Spoilers, you can probably
The
find
maiden,
them.
the mother, and the crone. Right.
Nice.
Chandra through time. But there's an uncommon that's like middle Chandra, and young Chandra is the rare, and then the grown up really cool Chandra's the
Badass
mythic.
Chandra's
Wait.
the mythic.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
so in
6
terms
mana
of
Chandra's the mythic,
in terms
yeah.
but in terms of like progression, it goes like age progression.
Yeah.
I think
It goes
the rare one looks youngest.
Common,
Yes.
or rare, uncommon, mythic.
Also, it's by casting cost, so the rare is only 3 mana.
So here's the uncommon.
Yeah.
Chandra, Novice, Pyromancer.
maybe this is the younger
for
one.
3 in a red.
No.
okay.
Well, we'll go through by rarity. So for 3 in a red, you get a 5 mana planeswalker, +1 elementals you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. Okay. -1. I assume that comes into play somewhere else. -1 add red. Okay. And then -2 Chandra Novice Pyromancer deals 2 damage to any target.
It's an uncommon planeswalker with a plus ability, but
Yeah.
a very situational one.
Yeah, which
But
is
I'm super excited to see planeswalkers at uncommon.
yeah. I mean, so
Like, that's interesting.
They've confirmed that this is the only planeswalker we're going to have it uncommon in M20.
But still,
But I love that they're moving,
using that design space.
Yeah, they're continuing to play with that design space. So then you go into the rare, which is Chandra, Acolyte of Flame.
I read an article. Apparently, this is the youngest one. This is like she doesn't have a limiter on. She's like supposed to be meditating, but instead she's making a fire elemental, and like you can see her teacher's like, "What the tits, Chandra?"
So
in the background,
One
get to work.
1 red, 4 loyalty planeswalker. For 0, put a loyalty counter on each red planeswalker you control.
So if you've got 2,
Yeah. For 0, that's right, 2/0 abilities, create 2 1/1 red elemental creature tokens. They gain haste. Sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step.
imagine if you get 2
if you
Chandras.
pair this with the uncommon Chandra, you can make those 3/1s, which is kind of cool. And then for -2, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard. If that card would be put into your graveyard this turn, exile it instead, which is kind of cool, given that sort of flashback into the thing. And then finally, Chandra, Awakened Inferno. This is a mythic rare, 4 red for a 6 loyalty planeswalker. It says this spell cannot be countered.
Suck it, blue.
+2, each opponent gets an emblem
Whoa.
with, at the beginning of your upkeep, this emblem deals 1 damage to you.
Say what?
So, and you
Say
can give them
what?
multiple emblems.
Yep.
You can just
do
keep
that
giving
every
them.
turn,
That's the plus.
which is pretty interesting. That's the plus. -3,
That's spicy.
Chandra deals 3 damage to each non-elemental creature. So board wipe, pretty legit.
It's pyroclasm, but better.
Yeah. And then -X deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. If a permanent dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. This is a spicy
Send that right to the
spicy
nether realm.
card. Yeah, this is a heck of a card. Curious to see if it gets any sort of standard play. Normally, it takes
6
a lot.
is a lot for a red
I mean, that's the
card.
thing, is that it takes a lot for 6 mana spells to 6 mana planeswalkers to be played in standard, but all those abilities seem pretty legit.
Well,
so.
so she comes down, and for +2, so she comes down with 8 loyalty, which is ridiculous. And then you deal 1 damage to your opponent on their upkeep, which is like, but
Not
then,
amazing for 8 mana or 6
No.
mana, right?
No,
Yeah.
but you could also completely just. You could take her down to 1 loyalty or something like that to exile pretty much almost anything, I think.
Yeah, she has the same ability as the first 5 mana Chandra, right?
Yeah.
It's like she comes in with 6 loyalty and can -X to burn a creature. So that's kind of cool. And that one was playable, so maybe. Yeah.
This can't be countered. So if you absolutely positively need it dead, and it's got less than 6 toughness or 6 toughness or less.
Yeah.
Anyways, those cards look pretty exciting. I think it was Gizmodo that got to spoil those. Is
I
that where
think
the
so,
source
yeah.
was?
Oh, really? That's kinda cool.
I think so. Yeah.
Look at that. Look at Magic stuff getting it was
mainstay.
because I was checking out Kotaku, of course, for all of the E3 news that was happening, and it was right in their carousel of interesting stories from other sites, right on the top of that. I was like, oh, neat.
Nice.
I wanted to read this anyhow, but now it's just right here.
Cool. All right. Well, I mean, that's what happens when you go into an episode of Tap Tap without a topic. I think it went fairly well.
You talk for 50 minutes straight.
We managed to fill the hour, almost. All right, so before we wrap up, I want to remind everybody this is the last time on Tap Tap I'll be able to do this for Magic Fest Seattle. This is coming out on Monday. Magic Fest is this weekend in Seattle. If you would like to come out and join us for the weekend, you can do so.
Oh my gosh, how many people are going to be there, James?
Myself, Graham, Cameron, Ben, Adam, Cameron. Wait, did I say Cameron already?
Yes.
Who's the 6th person?
Who else in Loading
Surge.
Run again?
Surge is
Surge.
going to be there. Beej is going to be there. Beej will be manning the booth
And doing custom altars.
and doing custom altars and selling merchandise.
Mostly just that one.
Beej, what are we going to be selling?
We're gonna have some shirts on hand,
Cool.
and
Playmat, maybe?
we have 6 or 7 playmat designs that we're
Nice.
gonna have as well. I'm just gonna bring mugs in case people want to buy the checkpoint mugs too.
All right. Sweet.
So,
I mean, it's in the same place as our warehouse, right?
and yeah, exactly. And we have 3 dice bag designs. We have the Dice Friends dice bag design, and God willing, we will have 2 more dice bag designs that
Nice.
are brand new that we have never had before.
Sweet. So that'll
these are
be
very cool.
That'll be your first chance to buy those things. Magic Fests are open to the public. You do not have to pay to get in. If you are pre-registering for the event, at the end of that pre-registration, you will see a little box that you can put a comment in. If you put the code LRR there, lets them know that we sent you. It's super useful.
Yeah, put our code everywhere.
Put our code there.
Just put the words LRR in a random
who knows?
spot.
Maybe you'll get 50% off somewhere.
No.
You go to article and be like LRR at the end, and it's just like, hey, you found the free secret code. Congratulations. I don't
Have a
know.
sofa.
Have a sofa for free. No, it's probably not going to
This
happen.
podcast brought to you by Article. Find furniture at Canadian prices.
Yikes. Also by Card Kingdom.
Also
Yeah.
by Card Kingdom. All right,
It's-
let's roll into the actual sponsors here. CardKingdom.com.
It's a kingdom of cards.
It's a kingdom of cards. be sure to apply that affiliate code by saying cardkingdom.com/LRR. We love them. We use them. You should too.
They're legitimately good people.
They are really good people. And then finally, Patreon over at patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. As always, we could not do all of this that we do without you, whether it be in this studio or the other studio or that other studio or the friend space.
Thank you, Patreon
Or the editing
supporters.
offices.
Thank you for letting
Or
us
the
be weirdos
bathroom.
professionally.
Especially the bathroom.
The bathroom was all you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so for James and Kathleen and Nelson, this has been Tap Tap Concede from a plane somewhere in Magic.
Bye.